Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Laura, and of course, I am an advocate for media workers in Singapore's media industry. And so today we're going to talk about a particular topic that I'm very interested in, which is workplace safety. So workplace safety for creatives or media personnel as well. So maybe we go around the table and we can introduce ourselves a little bit more, what we do, and our experience as well. Kelvin?
Sure. Hi, my name is Kelvin. I'm part of VICPA and I'm an executive producer by training. So I advocate strongly for workplace health and safety standards. I think this is something that needs to be addressed critically because in Singapore and compared to the rest of the world, we are quite far behind in this practice for the industry, I feel.
Interesting. I think that's something we have to unpack as well. Compared to the rest of the world, what are the standards there as well? Zam?
Okay, I'm Zam, Director for SIS Network and also Deputy President for VICPA. Safety is my priority. Okay, we train crew to make sure that they handle equipment as professionally. Yes.
So you mentioned you're the founder of Stills.
Yes, Stills Network. Yeah.
So in Stills Network, what do you do specifically?
Basically, we do lighting. We are main primary business crew. So we dedicate those assistants to photographers, to whoever needed the expertise. So there's a hierarchy to it.
Yeah.
So they will learn with each others, right? The safety and mentorship, all these things.
You also manage a team, I know.
We do have a team. So although there's a school teaching them how to use the equipment, how to see things, but certain school or mostly they won't touch to the basic like safety on the workplace because a school actually on the ground itself is so much safe. There's a teachers, lecturers, maintenance, all these things. But when you come to workforce, okay, you are the one who responsible.
Okay. Could we move on? Kyle?
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Kyle. I'm a filmmaker and podcaster. I mainly direct documentaries. So safety is something that I always, face issue with because when you're shooting documentaries, there's a lot of different locations that you shoot in, sometimes not so ideal locations. So this is something that we also try to ensure that it's safety for the crew.
Documentaries in any specific areas?
Sports actually.
Sports.
Yeah, so we shoot quite a bit of sports. So sports can be dangerous. So we have to ensure safety for both the talent and ourselves also.
Any particular sports that you're interested in or just general?
Okay, I'll mention one project that I was on. So I was on the Paris Paralympics. So we flew to Paris to shoot, so it's two of us. So there were a lot of aspects of the safety issues that we had to face, including the safety of the location that we're going to, because it's not Singapore. Europe is very, very different. And also like when you're shooting sports and you're close, there's some safety issues. Like for example, if you're shooting near a pool, you don't want your DP to go into the pool, to fall in the pool, and then with the expensive equipment, and
Which one is more important, the equipment or the person?
I will always tell my guys, I say, guys, if you want to get a shot, I understand, but you need to understand that you're a human. You have to take care of yourselves. So it's always safety for me.
Okay, so we've been hearing a little bit about VICPA, Kelvin and Zam mentioned you're from VICPA. What exactly is VICPA? So Jacob, would you like to share?
Yeah, hi, my name is Jacob. I'm from the VICPA, the Executive Secretary. In full term, VICPA is the Visual Audio Creative Content Professionals Association Singapore.
Very long.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. And we take care of the creative freelancers in the areas of photography, videography, production, as well as content creation. We look into the interests and also advance the needs of our creative freelancers in Singapore. I think one of the areas is on work safety in production sets. How do we go about ensuring that there's safety not just for the equipment, but also for our media freelancers?
Yeah. So you talk about VICPA, right? So when was VICPA set up and why was there a need to set up this?
So VICPA was set up in the year 2021, post-COVID, where we actually found out that there is a lot of needs of the creative freelancers where we needed to look at various agencies or ministries. It doesn't cut very neatly to a particular agency. So hence the association comes together as the voice where we can then be a unified and strong organization to represent our creative freelancers and bring out the issues and see how we can address some of these in a more systematic and structured manner.
Yeah, I think structure is very important as well, as well as bringing people together. Because I think in this industry, sometimes we can be a little bit fragmented and a little bit in our own kind of silos, occupied with our own problems. And sometimes I think by coming together and trying to solve problems, it can make things easier for everyone rather than everyone in their own little areas fighting battles.
And also for us to better understand the needs, right? So like you bring together like-minded individuals in their own fields who are practitioners themselves. And when they give us their inputs, then we validate those inputs and then we go together as one. Then the voice will then be more stronger for us to then push for some of the challenges that the creative freelancers face.
But I mean, this is specifically for freelancers. I know this is like self-employed because we're not employees, we're not under MOM, Ministry of Manpower, so it can be quite limited, our say, in the way things are done. I also imagine that they will get a lot of complaints because I think in our industry, we tend to complain a lot in our small little circles. I'm pretty sure you see they're all laughing. They all know what I'm talking about, right? You complain, and then VICPA kind of, I like to say we collect, compile, and convey complaints to the powers that be. So, I mean, it's an important job, but also important to kind of have that say, I think, in the way things are run, rather than just let things be as they are. Okay, so now quickly moving on to the very important topic for today, which is workplace safety. You're all very experienced people here in the industry. So are there any specific incidents that you really stand out in your mind that you think, wow, this was really dangerous? And can you share a little bit more about those incidents?
I think my side, like photography crew, all these things, right, they don't expect it so heavy equipment or or maybe technical or specialized to handle equipment. What normally as an assistant of photographers, they only light stand, lights, cameras, laptop. But sometimes it go beyond that. Like example, maybe 20 years back, right? There's a shoot for car at Marina Barrage. So while we shooting,
maybe about 15, probably 15.
around there,
Yeah,
15. Sorry if I mistake, 15 or So there's a car shot there. So when the photographer set up everything, the client remarks is, "Oh, I see so much reflection. Can we cut the reflection?"
Yeah.
So we are not aware that they stand by 20 by 20 butterfly, and we only have 2 crew. As a photography side, we have less crew because of the workflow. But then when big stuff come out like 20 by 20, they expected us as a crew to set up.
Yeah.
So
but it
on
was
that
already
day,
standby already. So you already had it already?
we are not aware, but then it's in the set, right? So when we need to set up 20 by 20, and I see that it's like 2% set up 20 by 20 is possible, but on that situation, it's windy and started to get drizzling, all this thing.
Flying and barrage.
Yeah, man. So it's like almost near there's a tunnel there where the wind is blowing so strong. So okay, that time I was young, right? So we see that this is challenging. Want to be hero. Okay let's set up let's do it But if you say now, I think I'm stupid right? So we set up 2% setup. Then we found one fire hydrant or something like that there as our anchor So we anchor the thing, and it's almost fly and hitting the parts of the Marina Barrage. Just imagine if that things happen, right?
Yeah.
The damage it caused, and not only damage it caused, but what is the passers-by, hit people, injure people, liability, and injure all these things, right? So yeah, that's my experience. So now that I know, okay, certain equipment need how many personnel, right? If you're driving a grid van, okay, we set up a rule that, okay, 2 person will be there. At least one find car park, loading, unloading. The other one is to help around all these things.
I think what I hear is that pre-planning and actually, having the number of crew. But in that circumstance, right, when you set up 20 by 20, whose instruction was it to?
It's the photographer instruction. It's client request, but then photographers or whoever in charge cannot reject, right? So have to do basically that period of time. you
have
have
something to
more
add.
experience,
I'm
right?
not thinking already. I feel like you need to say something.
No, I'm anxious.
It's either you do or you go back, right? For the job, as we are freelancers,
Ah.
so we don't have control over our situation. Yeah. So
But if now someone asks you to do that, what will you say?
now I will stop it. Definitely, if that's that's at the situation there and that condition, I will stop. Okay. I will pull back my crew, right? Do or didn't do, I will lay out first what is important. Okay. Although safety for me, I think safety now we're talking about now, right? Safety is not the first priority for freelancer already,
Yeah.
because safety has become a second or third or fifth priority. You know why? Because if everything is safety, works cannot be done. Even the easiest work, hardest, middest, difficult, complex, right? There's a risk. So in freelance world, we don't have safety as a first priority. If not, we can't do any job at all.
But do you think it should be our first priority then?
It depends. Every employer, client don't want to see their team or set or whoever they want what they hired to be not safe or
Injured
or hazardous or what. But they also not the one who going to become your parents, looking after you for safety. You all are not kids, right? So it's not their problem. Yes, they will say, oh yeah, okay, safety first, safety first. But what's the core?
Yeah, personal responsibility for your
Yeah,
own
it's business. They're making, not
Yeah.
they're making, we are making money for our paycheck, right? And the same as them. They also need a paycheck. We also need a paycheck. So if we talk about safety as our first priority, I think everything doesn't work for freelancer.
But of course, in our planning, I think it's important to factor that in as well. So we don't get put in that situation, right?
Yeah, but then it comes with it's a bad reputation, right? If anything happen, okay, advice to the company, right? From the top, from your client, very bad. From the middle, very bad. For the back end is very bad. So the whole thing looks bad on the company or the client. So which one do you prefer?
Yeah.
You prefer your brand to be jeopardized by hazard, right? So as part of us as freelancer, I think okay, we have to start and end from us. Safety is our priority, our personal priority is
You cannot
how we
expect someone else to
educate.
take care of you all the
Correct,
time.
yeah. We have to educate ourselves, go into the community, go to your mentor, go workshop, you know, get this information and help yourself.
Maybe Carl or Kelvin, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, I'll go.
Incident.
I mean, when he was sharing, I had some
Completely
flashback.
relatable.
So he was saying
Some
like when he was
nightmares.
younger, right? So,
Younger is what do all
so,
very
so when you're
yeah.
younger, you're very keen to prove yourself.
Yeah.
So I
Yes,
think
yes.
this was about 10 to 12 years ago. So then I just started. I started as a camera operator. So I was interning for this production house. I'm not gonna name who lah. And we were covering this particular marathon. I'm not gonna say where, but it's in Singapore. So there was this particular shot where they start to run off, and this was before the days of drones. So you can't use drones. So
yeah,
you need an
correct,
actual
correct,
camera
yeah.
operator.
Yeah.
So he was like, Carl, I'm going to go up later. So you cover for me. I said, no, boss, I go up. I want to go up. Then when I went up, they use a crane, one of those construction crane.
Cherry picker, is it?
Yeah, cherry picker.
Cherry
I
picker.
realized that there's no safety harness.
Yeah.
The guy who's operating had a safety harness. I didn't have. And this was
right.
back in the day where you're using the DSLRs to shoot. It was very heavy. So
Yeah.
I had to lean towards. So if anything happened, right, I would have just fell and I probably would have died.
Yeah.
So thinking back, I was like, that was
Yeah.
really stupid of me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to prove to my boss that, I'm hardworking.
Yes.
I want to pay my dues. Because you know, Singapore, in the industry, sometimes you have to pay your dues. But
Correct.
if I were to go back, I probably wouldn't do it. Because it was
Yeah.
way too risky.
Maybe you won't do it, but I think you will enhance the safety.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do it, but you give me harness,
Yeah.
you give me the PPE thingy, you give me helmet, you give me all
Yeah.
the accessory thing. then I will go up.
Yeah.
Right? If now we're talking about it. But then for our younger generation, we can educate them.
Yes, of course. And it's funny because marathon have safety officers, but nobody stopped it. Everybody was like, just let it happen because you have to get the shot, right? Because that shot is very important. So
Okay.
Yeah. But I think also, like you say, it's young. So when you're young,
Yeah.
you really
Yeah.
cannot. Improving yourself is one thing, but also you might be aware that it's dangerous, but you just cannot.
Yeah.
You don't dare to say that it's dangerous, I guess. Was that a factor, or was it just I just
it was
want to
adrenaline.
just
It was like, oh
I
my
need to
god,
do this.
I'm shooting for this company. Oh my god, I'm shooting this marathon. I need to prove myself. I'm getting the main shot. That's the first shot people see. That's my shot. So you really want to push yourself.
Yeah.
So but safety first lah. Safety first.
But let's say safety first cannot be safety first. Like
Everything,
freelancer.
is your
the
personal
whole
decision.
personal
I totally understand.
Yeah, correct.
Because you have to make the
But also in
judgment.
that case, if something had happened,
Mm.
then someone else would have to take responsibility, right?
The production house.
I mean, sure, you would make the choice to do up there, but someone told you to
Of
do
course.
that. So someone else will have to take the responsibility if.
I think the awareness to let them know the client is like what we say awareness lah, right? It's fine if you think that the crew is in this position, right? But are you hiring the correct crew for this position? End up it will be you are the one who going to bear the cost. You might go to jail for it.
Yep.
Because you are hiring people that are not qualified to do all these things, right? Even the scissors leave, you need
For
a
negligence or all
license,
that, you
right?
might
Yeah,
get
you
in
need a
trouble.
license for the crew to go up. You just can't have anybody junior or even the senior without a license. They can't go up, right? Above 3 meter.
I mean, work from height, right? There's
Yes,
also events
work from height.
management is work from height kind of certification and all that. But on set, do they have these kind of?
For now, we don't have really.
There's
we
no
don't
standard
have.
soul certification.
That's why, yeah. There's a bit disappointed lah. Because why? Let me first, okay? Know why? Because freelancer, when we involve in the accident or what, we don't report.
Yeah.
Because the egoist or something that we worry that we don't get
You fear
another
the
job.
fear of getting other projects in the future or being
Correct.
stigmatized that you were not careful.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is the right time also to bring Jacob. Like this kind of standards, do you think it's something that should be instituted or can be brought over from other industries?
I think it should. I think hearing from them, you see that safety is priority. I think no one disagrees that safety is not important. We all agree. Then the question is, whose responsibility is it to ensure? If you ask me, from a very layman perspective, if you're a driver, it is not just your responsibility, but plus also other drivers, plus also other pedestrians on the road. So I would say safety is a shared responsibility. Then the question is, does everybody and every party agree that this is a shared responsibility? So awareness is one thing, but I think we need to go more than awareness. In terms of like there should be some form of like practice, regulations, and subsequently enforcement as well. And like what Zam is trying to highlight is that if you don't report, then we do not have enough data on how can we further enhance. So they have been passionate about the work, and therefore they have tried to enhance it in their own ways when they do it again and again. But this is not shared industry-wide. Today we hear it, not everyone is familiar. Then the question is, do we have an industry norm or a practice that everyone is aware and can learn and then build a norm in the industry?
I think that's something we will unpack a little bit later as well. I mean, because freelancers, right, we all work in our own capacity. We fear losing our jobs. We want to be, brave and do all sorts of things. So it'd be good, of course, to refer to something and say, look, it's on the website here. This is what we're supposed to do. These are best practices, rather than I came up with this by myself. And
No, I think I share everybody's view because I was anxious because I hear the stories. I mean, 20 by 20 in the wind is a very, very huge kite that nobody can hold down. You know what I mean? From heights, the kind of experiences is when I was an intern, I was made to climb the truss by a certain event company all the way up for a certain very first music festival at the beach.
Event company, would they have this?
No,
from
so
like-
yeah, so there is. So if you are an intern, right, they ask you, hey, can you go and tape up all the cables on the truss? So the truss is like what, 10 meters up? So you just climb, but there's no safety harness, there's nothing. So I recall this, I was like, wow, I was really quite stupid to go up there because I was afraid of heights, but I had to do it. Because it's your job, right?
Yeah.
And if not, then they write a bad report, oh, you're not proactive. But through the years, I think this is where the industry has a problem. I agree, nobody wants to report. You report means you don't get a next job. Hey, what happened to you? Why were you careless? Did it happen to you? Most of the time, and then you realize that it's not the crew's fault. I think this stems very much top line. First and foremost, right? The film crew are not recognized as a proper job in Singapore. But in the region, everybody who's working in the film crew is a respected profession. I want to call it out and say I don't think IMDA gives enough attention because if I look at any guy on set, each guy is skilled enough to know, as a equipment engineering, the guy knows power. The guys how to know it's safe. If it's going to rain, do they tape it up? The grips know, hey, if I don't want to lose my hand, if this thing drops, I better tighten it up. I better safety it. I better whatever it is, And I have worked around the world with film crew, whether I go to the country or whether they come here. And I must say, I'm very proud to say our film crew and our community, our film community, and I talk this for stills and for regular TVC film, right? We are a talented bunch. We are smart. We may be small. We don't have maybe 2x the manpower of Vietnam or Thailand.
Because money-wise as well.
Yes,
Budget,
yes.
yes.
But everybody knows what they're doing. And the quality can only get better if there's a mentor looking after the mentees or if there's knowledge transfer, right, through the generations. I see the younger generation of film crew coming up. I see the younger film production houses, and I think they got something going. It's not exactly how old school people would do it, but it's younger. But I think they are more, sure of a better word, woke. They kind of know what, whoa, that doesn't feel right.
They're more willing to speak up, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this, for me, my personal experience transcends both indoor and also outdoor. Like my editors, after a 12-hour stint in the room, they see no light. They pop out and then they're like, oh, I see their eyes are like, like starry, right? And I say, hey, if you're done, go home. Even on shoots when I'm preparing, and I understand that balance between wanting to satisfy commercially your client, again, downstream to making sure the shoot for 12 hours. Horror stories, I've gone past the studio, I know these guys are shooting a food commercial in this studio. 27 hours later, I go past the same studio and they're still there, So it's a question of why and how.
Yeah.
It should not be accepted. Even when my producers work out and say, hey, Kel, I don't think we can do this in 15. Then I say, if we can't do this in 15 or less, I think we shouldn't do it. Because it's stressful. Stressful for money, you balance people's lives, on set.
Yeah.
And what value do you get after the 12 or 13 hours from the crew? Yeah. So I think this is the main thing. Because frankly speaking, in the Asian society, especially in Singapore, where the regular academic professions are regarded way better, way higher than filmmaking or like photography and everything. It's sad because I feel like so much talent, but very little support.
And very little space for development, I think.
Yes,
And there's no attention at all.
Everyone is doing it, and we have the best of industry here. And I see the ads that come out when international people come here.
I mean,
and
we
they require
had like
support.
international kind of streamers also based here for a period of time, but it just
And I see you see the work that when, like, for example, when David Beckham came here, he shot, there was a very famous commercial. You see the entire film crew come on set and you look at the final product. Now that is something I would say world class. If they sell our airline as world class, why can't they sell our industry as that?
And also, we don't have 100 or 200 people crew.
Yeah, we don't.
we
we have a very lean crew because you have
just
not
a
much
small crew.
budget as well.
One people is like doing 3 jobs.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And then the climb is also hard. If you don't follow a certain clique, you don't follow a certain group, you can't advance.
Networking and all that. But I mean, I think I want to carry on from that brief thing that you mentioned about working hours. So I mean, I'm going to come back to incidents because I do want to listen a bit more about incidents because it's very interesting to hear specific incidents that have been happening. But I think just segueing from working hours, what is the... Okay, I'm not asking you, Jacob, because... but what? Now you can hear, okay? What is the longest shoot in terms of number of working hours? What's the longest shoot that you are Okay, you're not proud, that you have been on? What can you remember?
For me, I think 3 days straight.
Yeah, I think
3
for me,
days straight.
as
3 days
the
straight,
production side, I think I stayed longest about 40-ish hours awake. But then the tech crew was rotated already lah. But as the producing, there's nobody to swap you out.
I mean, talents as well, right?
Yeah lah. I mean,
Talents, you are-
talents. If you recall, yeah, almost a day lah, almost 20 hours lah. You know, but you so he's like he tech side lah.
Yeah, my tech side, the crew
yeah,
side is like,
yeah.
after
3
shoots,
set.
before shoot,
We-
you prep, right? Loading, all these things. After shoot, wrap, whole thing. Then straight away you need to prep again for another shoot. Then prep
So
again
in
for
different
another
shoots
shoot.
that you go back to back? Or is it the same?
Yeah, it's like back to back lah. It's
Yeah.
basically back to back lah, right? It's like sometimes we'll hit you don't know, it's one shoot is overrun slightly by 4-5 hours, you done. You know?
That's not slightly though. 4-5 hours is quite a big
For them, it's 4-5 hours is normal, you know. 4-5 hours.
Yeah, so that's I mean 4-5 hours is
It's normal.
It's normal for full shoot lah, for example,
for
yeah.
shoot. Yeah, but they don't know that we have to wrap, we have to go back to studio, so we need to pack for another shoot, rotate the whole thing, right? So, I think personally 16 hours should have a hard stop for any production.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
asked Carl. What's the
Oh.
longest shoot we have been?
Close to 40 hours.
It's 40 hours.
Yeah.
We're not comparing here, guys. We're not
No,
saying
no,
more or less or things
No,
like
Mine
that.
was a combination. Mine was like back to back. So I was doing post production. Then basically client like, hey, I want to see in. And this was a public client. So the client was like, okay, I want to see in the edit until 6 a.m. I said I have a shoot at 7. Oh, never mind, I see until 6 a.m. I also staying back, I also OT. Okay, then younger days then you chiong wow. I think
So
that
it's a separate shoot, is it?
it's a separate shoot. Yeah, but
then,
that day is like I shoot already, then I go edit on the spot, then after edit I go shoot again. So almost 3 days I sleep, and I drank a lot of energy drinks that day. I think
I think that's the worst
Were
thing.
you-
that's the worst.
I-
You feel like you're gonna die already.
I hate to admit it, that's the worst, but I sometimes have to power through.
Yeah.
And I know that if I don't have like one Kopi O Kosong and one Red Bull Zero, right, I cannot open my eyes because
Yeah.
I only sleep 4 hours. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then,
but it's also
so, you know,
dangerous with crew, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're
exactly.
dealing with
dangerous.
all these
Yeah.
heavy equipment and things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It can
I
be.
even sleep in shooting a beach, holding a light stand and close my eyes.
Yeah, that's the, I mean,
Until that, you don't care about
Do
the
you all
situation.
drive after that, or do you have crew that
We
drive
have
after?
crew, can have a driver to.
producing side, we drive, you know, but it's better that, hey, you can, can you swap or whatever, you know. But at times, you know, I've like on set and then it's like a very long day already or what. I mean, younger, I wouldn't have this problem, but now I'll be on WhatsApp on my computer, right, talking to different
Yeah.
units of the process, and I'm like, I suddenly just nod off like that.
Yeah.
That is when I know that, okay, whoa, this is like, I have to stand up, do something, or, you know, just try to recover, you know. It's very easy to go so fast, but it's very hard to slow down.
But nowadays
because
I have a
catch up with
shift
that.
lah.
You
I
have shift?
a
Okay, not bad, yeah.
So after like certain hours, maybe 14 hours, okay, I will call my entire team to come in to take over me or take other.
Yeah. But for producers wise,
You know,
production
that-
teams
That's the
not
thing.
like that.
Yes, that's the thing. The producer, the key appointment holder, all these things, right?
The people who have to stay back to edit after that also like.
I think it's stressful for HODs, especially.
If I may try to understand, like, what is the rationale for such long hours? What was the constraint that you had to work within that 40 hours?
I think it's very dependent on the type of commercial. Also, we go upstream and see who are the people in command of the set, either the directors or the clients. You know, the worst what I would say be food fast food. The quest for excellence in a sauce or burger is usually
Punching something.
is usually very very very
Exactly.
intense. Yeah, and there's only so few people to do this here. So after a while, they realize that we can't do 27 hours and we can't do 20 hours anymore. So that job has rotated out of Singapore. So they go to Malaysia, they go to Thailand, go to Vietnam.
Is it
But
the
it's fine.
OT costs?
Yes, of course. But for the same cost in Singapore, you could cycle crew there. So tech crew could finish on the 10 or 11 hour. They swap if you know they're going to 18, you know, or 19 hours.
But here, is it possible to do that, or
You can, but with a lot of money involved and a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah.
Nah, why do you want to do that? That's why I kind of like every time I see a fast food thing, I'm like, I always think twice. I think twice. I'm like, do you think I can finish it in a day? I really don't think so.
So it's the demands. Is it the demands of the clients or
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
generally?
Yeah.
To them, it's OT.
Because when you plan, how long would you plan like a shoot for?
Uh,
In your mind, the ideal like.
For me, I would say anywhere from 10 to 12 actual shooting time. But don't forget, we producers have to bump in an hour before, get everything prepped,
Yeah.
and then when crew to set up and crew to exit, so the bump out. So if you talk about it, that's a 12 to maybe 14 hour day, 15 hour if you're lucky. So if your main shoot clock is 15 hours, you plus the front and back.
I mean, there was once very early on I did PA for a company which has now closed down.
Yes.
But I was doing PA and I was driving the van.
Okay.
And I had 24-hour day.
Ah.
So I woke up at like 4 a.m., drive the van, go and get breakfast,
Yeah.
go set. After that, they wrap at 2, 3 a.m. I go back to office, drop off everything.
Yeah, reset everything.
So it's like they live 24 hours and then you're
Yeah.
driving around at the same
Yeah.
time, you know. And I've heard people, my friends who have driven, they have knocked into gantries of car
normal.
parks.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have reversed, the glass at the back of the van has broken because it reversed into things. My own husband, he has actually scraped against the side of expressway because he just fell asleep
Yep.
on the expressway. There's just so many dangers, I think. Is there anything
Yeah.
VICPA would like is doing to address this or is thinking of doing perhaps?
So these are good examples, right? So for us, right, we need data points.
Yeah.
For us, like if you look at the construction sector, there has been a lot has been done. And the reason is also because they are reported. And therefore there has been regulations put forward about like subcon, main con, who should be responsible. It should be the main con's responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, if we want our industry to move forward, then we will require such data as well. And today, I think we're also living in a data age. We need such malpractices to go forward, and then for us to move on, not more for, but like pinpointing and like complain or something,
Yeah.
but how can we do better? So for instance, the question then goes back to the individual. Do you have the power or are you empowered to stop work?
And now
And in some circumstances, I can feel that it's very difficult, right? Like for
feel the
himself,
pushback from
the run is
people, like-
ongoing. Are you going to say no? I'm not going to film. I'm not going to do the work, right? You because it's already there. You're already there. Then they tell you you need a 20 by 20. So it's like you're already there. So therefore, then the question is, are you
Why are you
allowed
not
to
doing-
do stop
Yeah.
work order?
Yeah.
So I think the challenge is they are in a difficult position to do so. But having said that, but we have to start from somewhere, right? If one day we have a case where people stop work order, then it sends a signal to people that we are very serious about it. And,
But it's who has this power, I think.
yes, then the question is whether you feel comfortable doing this because
Yes.
the industry is small.
Yeah.
By words of mouth, will you be affected by this?
My question to the authorities, right? Because I joined VICPA, my question to authorities. Okay, how we get data, right? We take example, like a war. Why Singapore invest on military? Any war? What is the reason?
Yeah.
Prevention. So why can't our safety do that? We don't have a data. Singapore don't have data about war. What war we have? We don't have any war at all, but we
We
still
have
buying the budgeting
Threat sensible.
for defense lah, for buying
to
all these
appear
things.
strong. It's to appear strong.
Alright, so why
Yeah.
don't, in this industry, why don't we come out with our own needs? The industry, Singapore needs. We don't follow the data from all the rest of the world.
I second that. The data is one thing, but I think first and foremost, right, there needs to be recognition. People need to realize that this is a proper career.
Yeah, I see.
Why does every film school kid come out? I want to be a director. Oh my god, I want to be the executive producer. Oh my god, I want to be there. But you could start from the very bottom.
Yes.
And especially in an Asian context, right? The whole mythology and the whole ideology of apprenticeship is what our fathers and grandfathers went through, right?
Yeah.
So it's not different. To learn something, what you learn in school and what you learn outside is completely different, right? And I totally understood that as well, right? But nobody recognizes, no official entity recognizes that, hey, what is your profession? And I know, like, my friend of mine I'm a director of photography. I'm very, a DOP is very well recognized in my field. But to the government, I'm just a freelancer. Maybe he's a very skilled camera guy. But,
there's a lack of recognition, I think, of what we do behind the scenes
Yes,
as well, because media people can be very invisible labor.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have talents, very glamorous so-called people, celebrities and all that. They're on screen, but we don't see the number of people that the work that goes on
production.
behind, the production that goes on,
yes,
the
yes.
planning, the producers, the directors, the crew, everything that makes it come together, amount of time and power. And this also affects not only safety, but budget.
Of course.
I think budget is the biggest thing, because they say, why do I have such a budget? Like, I'm just, like, social media is so easy, what? I just take a camera, I use my phone, and I just film. That's it, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Like, what sort of budget do you need for that? I think that's also a big issue in kind of holding back our industry, lack of understanding of
Yes.
how many people,
Yeah.
what it really takes to make a quality production as well. And of course, that affects workplace safety and everything.
Downstream lah. you know,
Yes.
it's like- and also like service buyers think that, oh yeah, so hey, so guys for social, come on. But it's your idea and the way you get to the idea.
Social media only, what?
Yeah, but the idea and get the way to get the idea is still a certain cost.
Yes.
It shouldn't, no matter why you put it, whatever, it's still a certain cost.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is that if nobody wants to recognize, it's a hard job, it's a dirty job at times, you know,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it's and nobody wants to see that when you peel away the layers, right, we have talent across every rank and file in the industry. I'm
But how
proud
do we
to- yeah.
protect this talent
Correct,
and groom this talent?
Yeah,
I think
because in
that's-
like a situation like COVID, then the talent that we see, they fall short of work, and then they.
But
go
also
and do other
every
things,
year,
yeah?
I've been thinking about every year the film schools. How many, tens of hundreds of people come out from film schools every year,
Mm.
and where do they go? And the industry that they come into, are we ready to accept this group of people coming in? Are we ready to have standards to protect them and to,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
only safety, of course, things
Yeah.
like contracts and payments and
You have to,
just
Yeah.
working
You will be
conditions.
dead.
Yeah.
So I spot. I always go to grad shows to spot the who catches my eye. I spot two from LaSalle last year.
How do you spot them?
By watching their films, if they leave an impression, whether or not, then like, you reach out lah,
Yeah.
So I spotted two. And I brought them under the fray. I said, look, this is what you get as a mentorship. It's a paid one. It's not an internship. It's a paid mentorship. You are reimbursed for daily life and a bit of comfort and everything.
Yeah.
But do you have that grit to see it through? And they say yes. And then we bring them 100% into the process
Yeah.
immediately. Like, I don't dial it back. I just, here's the swimming pool. You know how to swim, right? Okay, the float is on the side. Hang on, I'll throw it to you, but swim first, But I'm watching, you're not going to drown, And the first week, you can see they're just like glazed over. They're like, can I go home now? I was like, yeah, you done? Yeah, you okay? But you sure you want to go home? Self-doubt kicks in. But I must say that the younger generation are a little bit more, like I said, when just now, they're more woke. They actually think of better ideas. Like, what do you mean it's like that? Yeah, I said, it's always been this way. Oh, how about this? Then I pause and I look up. That's not bad. Okay, just try it,
Yeah.
So it surprises me. But then I always tell them your ideals are where you get there. Then you want to be the director, right? So it's like 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important also, like, if they want to get there, but how to kind of
Get there safely. Yeah.
get there safely.
Yeah.
Also, I've spoken to some producers and directors, and they have the mentality, that this is the way we've always done things.
Yeah.
Right? So I went through the fire. I went through all these things. I've heard people describing our environment as being very toxic. And that's another form of safety, I think. We have a physical, mental, emotional, psychological safety. And being in a toxic environment is very dangerous as well. And that's why some people leave
Yes.
the industry because
lot.
of this toxic environment
a
as
lot.
well.
Yeah, I agree.
lot of people
I
How
agree.
do you survive, right? This toxic environment. And also, is it because the toughest survive at the end of the day? And because I survived, so therefore you must go through the same thing and survive as well.
In a sense, yes. Yes. I mean, thank you for, highlighting LaSalle because alumni. I also do the same thing. I think,
Come on, and what is going on?
I think first and foremost is the idea of like, why are you in the creative industry? We are in the creative industry because we ask questions, right? Then shouldn't we ask questions of how we create? Like, just because MediaCorp has done it this way, TCS has done it this way, the Hong Kong directors have dictated that it's a hard industry, then it has to be all the way. We should be the ones questioning and changing it. I went through 40 hours. I don't want my intern to go through 40 hours. I think it's really, really bad for you. So the change comes from the top. So if you're in a position, which I am right now, to control the shoot, to make sure that it's only 8 hours, then you do it. And it's a positive thing, because once you do it, then they're like, oh, this production house, right? They don't shoot, they don't OT on. Confirm 8 hours. If not, the producer will start scolding the client. I mean, of course, then it's up to me to talk to the
To
client.
manage the client,
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm like, you're paying this much, you can't expect us to do this much lah. Then if you want me to do this much, I double the charge for. You want to pay or not? You don't want to pay, then my guys go home. Something as simple as that. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of courage, because you lose clients. You actually lose clients over that.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Okay, because change from the top is important.
Yeah.
Because if the top doesn't lead by example, everybody just say, oh, you see, my leaders doesn't do it. So I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
If they already put benchmark to it, okay, guys, this is what the government mandatory is, okay, locked at 16 hours. Everybody will start doing it, right? If something happen, okay, there will be penalty or something like that.
Yeah.
So from the top is the most important.
I mean, both, I think, is important as well, of course.
yeah.
You can't just have a top-down kind of a thing.
It's the
It needs
decision
to-
maker.
Yeah, the decision maker, of course.
Yeah,
because we
for
all have
us,
the
we
power.
cannot make the decision. I want to stop. We cannot do that. It's the top who the one who say, okay, come down to the whoever awarded
Yeah.
the project is, okay, I want this to finish at 15 hours. Can you do that? If cannot, we go for 2 days. Have to be very firm about that.
No,
Right?
it's just legislation and framework. Like I mean, really like, hey, if the construction industry must dictate that up to certain hours they rotate shift. You see, they recognize.
I
as an
think
industry.
the limitation
Yeah.
there probably is this idea of employee versus contractor. And that's I think in Singapore government, MOM, Ministry of Manpower, that's why they don't have purview over freelancers
Yep.
because
That's
of
the
this
thing,
idea
yes.
of
Yeah.
employee
But then-
versus contractor.
But then we are the main con, right? Whoever that we hire is a subcon. But the subcon, kind of our responsibility to make sure that the work
Welfare.
welfare, I mean, whatever we are tasked them to do is exceeded
I mean,
to our
technically
expectations.
speaking, the people that hire you are the main con, right?
Okay,
The
yes.
commissioners
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
clients are the main
Yeah.
con, and you are all the subcon and the subcon of the subcon and the things like that.
Maybe the foreman or whatever, like, you know how we manage things. But yeah, I think so. But it's unfair to say that if something goes wrong because you want it to be X hour, you must complete it in a day.
Yeah.
And a day is 24 hours, right? And then
And who takes responsibility
correct.
for that?
Yeah, correct. I really feel like because there is no framework or box to play within, people can just say, hey, don't do, somebody else will do. And sometimes I hear stories of slipping off the wheel, like you don't hear stories of the camera being smashed by the bus, and then that goes quiet, and then everybody knows.
Or even near misses.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. The light stand dropping, somebody standing under as a cut, somebody is in hospital, why don't you see this guy on shoot, or something happened to him, fractured his thumb. Yeah, you hear all this, but nobody wants to talk about it. If the set is safe, okay, accidents do happen, don't get me wrong. But if let's say we compare ourselves to our neighbors in Australia or New Zealand, every time on the film shoot there, and we are the clients coming in, with the clients, right? So they are the subcons, right? It's still good, like 30 minutes is safety things. Okay, here guys, the nearest hospital is here. Who is in charge to drive in case anything happens? Watch out, these powers, we're running, whatever, the generator is there. It's a very clear and thorough safety briefing. Everybody is holding a cup of coffee, watching and hearing. Here is the eat breakfast, okay, go watch the first shot.
I think it's also very dependent on whether it's good egg or bad egg. There are good actors and bad actors in the space. And I mean, it's important to multiply the good actors, I think, and also perhaps reduce the number of bad actors in the space.
True knowledge.
Yeah.
True knowledge. Yeah.
I think just going back to the topic of incidents on set as well. You mentioned about like injuries and things like that. Are there specific things that you can remember? Specific
I
shocking
hear,
industry injuries.
No lah, like something dropped on somebody's head, big gash, somebody's toe got chopped off by the tailgate, It's like then again, to me, first and foremost is things like today on the film set, I see the crew have all safety boots, steel toe, fashion statement to some, but very practical because you never know what will drop on your leg.
Yep.
Last time it's like your sport shoes, and run around with it and stuff like that. But it's some basic safety things like, and technology helps a lot. Like last time, don't have to climb a ladder to go and adjust the light. Today it's all by the iPad, Bluetooth, you change things, and it does lower the risk a little bit.
I think maybe one thing that is always going to have risk is something that's talents. Face. There are two areas I think I want to address as talents, and perhaps because all of us here are crew or directors and producers and all that. I think one thing is very obvious is stunts. It's the idea of safety of stunts. Who are the stunt coordinators? If there are stunt coordinators on set, first of all. Secondly is who are these stunt coordinators? Are they qualified to be stunt coordinators? Because there's no real certification or no real, STEM, yes, you can be a STEM coordinator. You can teach people how to do stunts and things like that. So I heard of an incident a couple of years ago, about 3-4 years ago now. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but there was a stunt woman on set. She's a stunt actress. She's been trained overseas, so she's really working as a stunt actress. She went on set of a local drama, and it was a Muay Thai scene, a Muay Thai kind of a scene, I think, a fighting martial arts scene. And they were rehearsing the scene, and then while rehearsing for the scene, the other actress fell on her, and her ankle shattered. Okay, so her ankle shattered. This made very big news in the industry.
Okay.
Because her ankle shattered, but the production company didn't do anything for her. So she was obviously in pain. I would imagine having your ankle shattered is very painful. They piggybacked her out to the street and didn't call an ambulance for her. In the middle of the night, I think 1 a.m., she called a friend to send her to A&E. So, I mean, that was one questionable thing, right? Why didn't you call the ambulance for someone who's are you afraid of getting into trouble? Is there some sort of fear there? And then later on, it conspired that this production company is a tripartite adoptee, tripartite standard, which we will talk about, but did not have production insurance. And so could not cover her medical fees, any loss of income or things like that. Because obviously she was out of work for 6 months, I think 3 to 6 months after that as a stunt actor. I'm not sure how much it cost, about 30K, I think, initial cost of her medical bills. What I did was I went to IMDA and I told them this person, this production company, this. And what they did is they suspended the production company until they got the proper insurance, and then you can start work again.
So I think this is good, right? I think this is where I feel that the industry comes in and use some of these levers. So that this company has getting grants or has some form of license from IMDA. So therefore, if you highlight it, there will be some action taken.
But the question is long-term penalties, I suppose, in this case, because the tripartite standard doesn't really have a long-term penalty.
The nature of the standard is a bit more different from the enforcement part, because the standard is just more like guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we don't go into the details of the implementation. And that is something I think VICPA is more interested in seeing how can we even enhance that standard, making it into a form of regulation even. Yeah, so perhaps I think we have rolled out the standard for some time, and if we think that we are ready to move into something that is a bit more better for our freelancers, then we should.
Yeah, but it's question of how do we get there and who should be enforcing this, and people sign the tripartite standards and they don't conform to it, they don't do it.
We need a recognition for every sector. Right? Recognition by every sector. Okay, who is the judge? Who is chopping them as certified?
Is it the commissioner's job? Is it whose job is it to certify?
I think the recognition is very important for each individual department, right? Example, like a gaffer, right?
Yeah.
Who certified a gaffer, right? Who certified director? Who certified?
I mean, this is in terms of the stunt coordinator or the people who are qualified.
Who qualifies, right? So who's going to pump this one? So I think we have to take through portfolio, right? So
it's a lot about network, isn't it? It's about who you know.
I think for me, right, is certification at core skill level. If let's say the recognition comes from IMDA, for example, there you're a gaffer, you're part of the film community, right? So are you certified by the relevant standards for electrical knowledge, working from heights?
WSQ.
WSQ, right? so it's core fundamentals, right? Because if I think about the guys working at the airport, it's the same process. They can't just walk around and just say, oh yeah, I have experience and whatever, but I have to be certified for me to put my name to say, what you're doing here, it's risk level 1, risk level 2, what are your your action
But
plans.
based on very measurable skills, I guess, in terms of technical skills.
But that's why
versus-
that's what brings back to say that if our guys are so skilled in almost every single
Yeah.
knowledge of this power here, something's wrong here, someone go and check here, it's experience plus core based knowledge. I think that's very critical. We have to get certified to treat them as professionals. Right? I think
We
that's
have
one.
to tick the box basically.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think that's something that's possible?
It is possible. So I give an example. There are already such standards out there in other sectors. So I think we can learn from there to have a checklist. So for example, in the construction again, they do have a briefing before any work that's being done. You may think that's very routine, right? But even then there's incidents. But having said that, but at least they have put in that check, like for example, for the supervisor to come down and do all the safety brief. Incidents happen, but that's a secondary matter. But at least you start with the right tone and say that, these are the things to look out for. And I think the supervisor will also look out for whether the person is equipped with all the safety gears as well. So then the questions in our sector, what is the basic safety? So for example, like the shoe, right? It's similar. I think we should have that. Then the question is, do we put that into our workflow? And ensure that all
And
of
also,
us...
I guess, cost. Because there's always a concern that costs
will be borne by
Yes.
the service buyer.
Yeah. Who is going to pay for all these extra cost of doing these risk assessments and putting a safety officer, probably maybe kind of a thing. I also think, like I mentioned, it's really dependent on the individual or the individual actually more than the company. It's better that the individual is responsible enough to take charge and to recognize that he or she is responsible for the safety. Because just example, right? I was on a MediaCorp shoot. I know some of us have very negative mindsets of MediaCorp shoots, but I was on a Channel 8 MediaCorp shoot, and the director was, we were doing a scene where I was being sprayed by water by kids. So they were like spraying water, so it was like in the void deck kind of a thing. So it's going to be very wet. And he actually warned me, he said, it's going to be wet, please don't run anywhere, please be careful. Beforehand, he did a safety briefing for the whole crew.
That's
and
nice.
said,
That's good.
it's going to be wet on the ground, please be careful of the kids running around when it's wet. Later on, we're going to be shooting with young kids, please be careful of them. When you're walking, you're carrying equipment, be careful of them. And I thought it was really admirable because I actually don't see this happen a lot on sets, drama sets especially, kind of, or commercial sets, whatever it is. But the director actually having a safety briefing and being aware of the risk involved. But I think, again, it's a very individual person thinks this is no real standard.
Yeah. Like if you know that if let's say for example, let's say I'm shooting a car, for example, and the car is one of its kind or whatever, then the question I have immediately to the client before any form of work is signed off is the insurance covered by you or me? Very clear cut. Because things surrounding, if anything happens, it hits the car or hits the people, that's even a bigger no-no lah. And public liability,
Who's liable for
public
this?
liability, like why is it that, I can't offset the public liability cost to the people that hire me when you want me to shoot on the regular streets, But then when I go to like Changi Airport, straight up, it's 3 million. You don't have 3 million, you show me on the public liability, you can forget about pitching to me the work. So I'm like,
Who's responsible for this?
Yeah.
I think,
why are we made to bear that financial I wouldn't say burden, but financial cost and the processes to get there.
And also whether you actually do it or not is who checks it, right?
Yes.
Because even if you don't do it, I don't know if you have experience with insurance or kind of. Okay, but perhaps we go back to what I was talking about earlier, which is stunts. Okay, let's not. We're going very far off today. Right? Stunt certification, of course, insurance, and taking care of people on set. In terms of stunts, I think also very small things. Personally, I was doing a medical shoot, and I just want to know your opinions on this, right? I was doing a medical shoot, and there were needles on set, right? Needles and all these kind of things on set. I was playing a nurse, another actress, she was playing the patient. So as a nurse, because they told me to pick up the needle and to pretend that I'm giving her some sort of whatever it is I'm giving her. Okay, I'm not medically trained. So I picked up the needle and the needle pricked me because at the back there was a sharp point.
Okay.
So first of all, I don't know where this needle
Was
has been,
off,
right?
yeah.
Has been. Then the other actress picked up the needle and it pricked her. So there was this intermingling of blood, and she was very concerned. Obviously, she
would be
trusts
concerned.
me, but there's just this concern that there's this intermingling of blood and kind of thing. In this case, who do you think is responsible for making sure that these needles were safe?
Production house, for sure.
Yeah.
But production house, okay, is it like the art, the set people? Is it the producer? Who is it?
Producer need to look out, because as a producer, you will look at the short list, you will know what is in charge. Then you will tell the HOD that, hey, this one, you must beware. And I think it's a good thing that you raise up, because I was thinking that actually for a lot of my production, we don't have safety officers. I guess the AD will be the safety officer, or the production manager will be the safety officer.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones that look at the call sheet in general. So, but it's a good point, because that is something that they might have overlooked. And I guess like the director also never think that how you're gonna tell an actress, oh, you just pretend. But normally you there's something for you to actually inject, and then the way you frame the shot would seem like you're injecting.
It seems very innocuous, very like,
but like,
very safe, looks very safe, what?
No.
But here's the question, right? Did anybody brief you and say, hey, careful, the needles are exposed? So then I feel that one is a must. Even if like it's like a riskier.
I mean, obviously
scene.
when I picked it up, I'm careful with it, right? But you also sometimes you don't. It's just so sharp that you really don't.
But would it benefit if somebody will warn you, say, hey, careful before you pick up? Make sure,
just to be sure which parts of it are safe, which ones are a bit unsafe. I think it's important.
Then maybe
the question now is safety is the first priority? No, right? Because you still
Just
have to
getting
do,
the shit
right?
done.
Become a second, right? So, right? So that's the question mark for us, everything, right? Is the safety is a priority in our industry?
No, I think
Right.
I mean, we all want to go back safe.
Correct, yes.
Is it
Everybody want to go back
question
safe.
mark? I think that's
so. For example, if there's a lot of kids for my shoot, it's an outdoor photo shoot about kids or whatever, I will call either, if there is enough budget, I will put aside the nurse or the station. The station that where they have the private ambulance. So just in case to attend, in case it's outdoor, I know it's going to be hot, I have like 20 kids running around, it's stuff like that, and plus they are minders. But you see, you go to like Thailand, if you have like 10 kids in the scene, you come with like 2 or 3 nannies. And then they look after the general well-being of the kids. The kids are kept indoor when it's really time.
And it's from the production
Yes,
company.
but it's process. To them, if there's children, there has to be that minder, which is a third party, and come their own parents or whatever. So then it's always the safety officer. Like the safety officer is either the nurse on set or something like that. Because adults, no problem, we can say we're in pain. But if the kids heat stroke or whatever, you also won't know. So these kind of things.
So is the ambulance a requirement by anyone, or is it that you yourself came up with?
I think through the years, me and my producers will weigh the risk and look, hey, come on. Yeah, not like 20 kids, do we? Or 10 kids, do we? Yes. And I would say, look, it's a per hour thing. So we schedule them in 3-4 hours, okay. Then to me, it's like, can I hide that cost somewhere? I can't purposely put, I say, like standby medical professional, right? But,
Okay.
Is there a need to hide it?
Sometimes I feel like they don't want to address it, especially the clients.
It's the clients.
They don't want to address like, why do we?
Okay.
Because they're kids.
Yeah.
And what do you mean they're kids? Like sometimes I get, what do you mean they're kids?
But why is there a need, right, to hide it? That's the bigger question,
Yeah.
right? Is that something you've thought about, or
I've hidden, but I mean it's very far off because I shoot horror content.
Yeah.
So this is something more psychological. So there was a shoot that we did in an actual cemetery, right? So I don't know the religion of my crew, but we had a pretty big crew, about 20 people on set, including talents. So I wanted to make everybody at ease. So actually I hired a spiritual master, and then I had to hide that cost somehow in the location cost, because the client was MediaCorp lah. They were asking for a full breakdown.
Yeah.
So as producers, we have to do creative accounting lah. We have to hire someone, because you can just say hire spiritual
Not only
master,
creative, but creative
$2,000. Then they're like, what is this? So I put it under location cost lah. You didn't need to know that lah.
Yeah, they
So-
clean
so-
the location, what?
Yeah. But everybody felt fine. I mean,
I mean, give
despite
people
your
peace of mind as
The
well.
crew was like, I just tell them, everyone go bring lights, because you're stepping on grass, you don't know if there's snakes.
Yeah.
So please be careful. Don't go alone, that kind of thing lah.
Okay lah, safety things lah.
Safety
What we
thing.
learn in army, everyone always have a buddy. Yeah,
Safety time out.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but safety also, I mean, psychological. I think the third thing, the next thing I want to bring up is intimacy. And I'm very aware that I'm a table of guys. So I have to bring this up as I'm not saying there's a female-male thing, but sometimes males tend to be less open, perhaps, or less willing to talk maybe about these things. It's not that they're not aware, because I'm pretty sure they go through these concerns as well. But as the female here, I will bring it up. And I will also say that I have encountered my male actors friends who have also the same concerns, right? Intimacy. So there are very intimate scenes sometimes, and intimacy to different people means different things. Some people, even a simple hug can be very intimate because they don't like to be. I have a friend who I've known for many years. When I did an audition with him, I noticed that he hugged me this way. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like it's like a
Less
very
awkward.
It's a very awkward hug,
Less
kind of
contact,
thing.
ah.
But that's because he's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? I may be his friend, but he's just not comfortable with hugging in that way. So we're not talking about even kissing, obviously, and obviously bed scenes are very intimate, obviously. Is there anything you've encountered perhaps in
I think on the commercial front, for me, not so much. Like,
Yeah.
There's no really
But intimacy sometimes can be very
not
not too intimate.
Not that I've counted, but in the scenes they've said it's like a husband and wife
Yes.
or a couple, then hand holding or like
but those
a
are
bit
quite-
closer. I think the kind of moments I think
Do you
is
feel
really
that awkward sometimes? Like,
actually no. When we're doing casting, we brief. Okay, you're part of you're as a couple, your mother or mother role, father role.
Yeah.
Then your kid is in a milk powder commercial. Oh, watching your kid run off into the park, that kind of thing.
And you put your hands around.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if they are briefed, I think it's okay because yes, I think sometimes talent will tell me, oh, I'm not comfortable being portrayed this way.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable being reaching out to hold. And I think on the spot, we then make, for me, in my experience, on the spot, we then make a decision. Frame it differently, or do we see what the talent is comfortable doing?
Yeah.
I think for what you brought up, like bedroom scenes or like very close intimacy, this kind of more exists for movies and drama, right?
narratives and things like that also.
No, even the photography also have, right? Example, you're shooting nude scene,
Yeah.
big scene, all these things, right? Then perspective for the crew, right? So they want to make it comfortable.
What sort of safety things do you do lah?
Yeah, so basically what we want to make it comfortable on the scene is the photographer or something will just say, oh, don't worry, my assistant is a gay. But he doesn't ask whether the assistant agree.
It doesn't help anything. Does it?
No,
Does it
sometimes
comfort
I
you?
don't know. Yeah, but he never asks the crew or the assistant whether he's okay to be called gay. He should ask permission or something
Yes,
like that,
of
right?
course.
Just can't say, oh,
And
don't
it's
worry.
not a joke as well because there
It
are
can
people
be,
who
yeah,
person's
right,
identity
yeah.
What's the
So,
line?
yeah,
What's the
it-
line?
I think in today's time age, very prone to cancellation.
Yes.
Problematic.
Because it's an identity, it's a real identity
Yeah,
people
yeah,
struggle with
yeah,
as well. So it's not a joke to be like
Yeah,
joked
but
about.
maybe for the photographer, it's
Yeah.
maybe a joke or made comfortable, but then never ask any consent.
But also, my other question is, does it make the person feel any safer,
Ah.
right? It might not, because it doesn't
Yeah.
help in that
Yeah.
sense. also.
In my experience, I've seen in other countries, if there is like a bikini scene or something that or like a shot of it, right? Usually the female model's modesty is very heavily protected. So the entourage of the makeup and the styling team will come in. If she's changed separately.
Yeah.
She's fully closed until she's in front of the camera. And then if it's uncomfortable bits or it's like more sensitive kind of thing, for example, lingerie, then I know that it's only the photographer and the first assistant will retain on set. And then everyone is either blacked out or something like that. And the client is hold at one corner for their own.
A lot of safety
Approval.
kind of.
I think more common sense.
Like common sense.
More common sense. Yeah, I feel that should be the process lah. Even more so today.
I mean, in Singapore as well, there's since 2017 in Hollywood, I know they have had intimacy coordinators. They have been starting to be trained in
That's
institute.
interesting.
Yeah, in Singapore, we have one right now,
coordinators.
trained Rayanne Condi, and she has worked on a couple of projects as well. Last Talk, I think, and a few other projects. Because I also thought about this because back in 2007, 2008, way beyond before this intimacy thing, right? I was involved in a student film. It's a student short film. It's a master student film was from Tisch School of the Arts back then. It involved a sexual assault scene. I mean, it was, I think, more of a it was a sexual assault scene, and it was a non-trained actor or quite first-time actor. And so he didn't know any better. So to him, I think it's to just do lah. Right?
Okay.
There's no safety, no nothing. What I just do lor. So at the end of the day, you go back. You're playing a character, but I feel violated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you feel like you've really been through the experience, and so I really know how important it is to have someone on set. I think to monitor that and to be sure that both sides are comfortable. Because sometimes even the male can be uncomfortable as well during these scenes as well. They're uncomfortable with how they portray, you know, how far should they go, you know, where should be touched and things like that. That's why I found it very important to have this. Do you think it's possible perhaps to start instituting this standard of intimacy coordinators, just like stunt coordinators? Is that something that you think we can look at?
I think it's a very good point, but my personal take is that, again, goes back to cost, right? So you have another person coming into the picture, which means then the question is cost, and who should bear that cost? And whether we should factor in that cost even when it goes to, you know, when you're going for the tender or the quotations.
I mean, how do we make it a standard such that, you know, it should be factored
part of
in?
the
I
cost,
think that's the thing
right?
that
Part of the
people should
costings and
recognize.
stuff.
Yeah.
I believe that for different scenarios, like for example, whether it comes to stunts or intimate scenes or different kinds of production, there can be standards for sure. Because there is already a lot of knowledge, right, when practitioners. So you already know that for a vehicle scene, you need these standards, right? For scenes with heights, you need these standards.
Are these written down and not, right? It's just like a...
So today, actually, people talk about it, but I don't think they are actually widely written somewhere that everyone...
There's no manual anywhere.
That's why we need to create this.
We need to create this into like a framework that actually everyone agree upon. I think the challenge, my personal take, the challenge would then be, there might be some disagreements here and there, but broadly, everybody, as I said, right, will agree that safety is important.
Yeah.
So nobody will come out and say no to safety. But the question will then be, when you develop any standards for any sectors, we need a certain number of industry people or even the key players to agree that this is it. For vehicles, for heights, for intimate scenes, for stunts, or even medical scenes. Or with scenes with sharp objects.
Yes.
Any other tools.
Like, for example, if let's say you are playing that role and if it's a medical drama, then I would presume that there's a medical consultant for film. Just like in Hollywood, there's weapons, you know, there's like per scene, right? If it's a military scene, it's a military consultant. You know, it has to be fairly accurate to the truth, you know.
It all goes on the cost as well.
Of course.
I actually quite impressed with the part about the ambulance because it reminds me of my school sports day. It's a requirement. It's a requirement. And I think one of the things that we do is to actually brief everybody what is the emergency evacuation plan. I think in the army, all of us know that's part of your ops order.
Yes, correct.
So now the question is, in production, do you have an ops order before every
I mean, I do
production?
see their set. I mean, there's
do we tell?
call
So do we tell? Okay, so now there's production going on. If there's any incident, the nearest hospital is so and so. This will be the route to the hospital. This is the number to call. So do we have this, and is this being practiced
right
widely?
now there is
it's a
call
practice.
sheets.
Yeah.
So on call sheets they do have all these.
Call sheets where like hospital nearest or
don't know who looks at it.
Whether usual
PA usually PA or AD
So at least there's something to refer to.
Which is good.
They already it's a
It's a
standard.
start, it's a start.
It's a standard already. So they have something to refer to. I think they probably taught this in school because I've seen it on school student film call sheets as well. They've told me like where the nearest hospital.
So the incident that you pointed out earlier, right?
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Which one? The one, the production company with stunts one. Yeah. I mean, okay, so that goes to the question of why didn't they do that? Is it fear of being in trouble? Because they know that now, oh no, something has happened. The producer knows I don't have insurance. If I call the ambulance, will I get into trouble with the authorities and things like that?
But it's an accident that happened on a work site. So technically, if there's...
So in that case, where should we report to, right?
Maybe they do a lot of times, so never happened before. So, okay, won't happen anymore, won't happen again, won't happen
That's the
again.
idea of insurance, right?
But to me,
Will happen.
But I mean, to me, it's the very clear cut. Like, why did nobody from production follow the person who is injured? To me, that's responsibility. If I hire you, I have to make sure that you're okay. If there's something goes wrong, touch wood, really nothing. But touch wood again. But I feel
Very timely.
I always feel like if we engage, we have to be responsible. Yeah, I think that's one-on-one. You know, if you want,
it's basic, right? So it's not
strongly
about
agree,
just buying
100%.
insurance, but when you have the insurance, do you then implement it? Meaning that when something happens, do you
I
follow
think it's a
through?
human touch though.
Yeah.
So the idea that we are all humans, right? We're all working on set, right? We're all roles, we're trying to get the work done.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we're all humans. Will you take
Exactly.
care of a fellow human?
Yeah, exactly.
Set.
Exactly. Why should that? Why should she be left there and call her friend? You know, it should be ambulance come, somebody from production go there, follow, make sure that she's medically attended to, and come back. Or if the shoot cannot proceed, then make plans for it. Like
Okay,
you know,
so
yeah.
the other question is, in these cases, right, since it is like workplace safety and all that, should we report it to, is there a channel to report these things to?
It's called the industry.
Where
Like,
do we
it's
report
not
it,
spreading,
right?
right?
We have things like, toes being cut off, we have, all these incidents. Is there somewhere we should report to?
The crew will start talking to each other.
I think MOM.
Do you know any
but
other
the problem is that if you call MOM, like the unsafe reporting or whatever,
Yep,
is
yep.
But is it under the workplace health safety?
Yeah,
I think there are a couple
workplace
of-
safety and health.
MOM or what? Come on,
But
right?
are we
Snap
under
safe.
MOM per
Yes,
se?
Snap
Snap
safe,
safe.
right? Yeah, wherever
Yeah.
you see
So
something
that is
hazard.
actually one of the ways for you to report. And of course, what Kyle said is true lah. If you report it in your own sector, it's a way to tell people that, it's a very powerful tool to tell that there's this incorrect
Something wrong,
practice,
yeah,
somebody
it's
that
got
is
house,
not, be
yeah,
careful
yeah.
about it. And I've
know,
really heard about it, so that in true freelancers, right, because the community is very small and very, so you spread it, I tell you, it gives a
very
signal.
fast.
It's very, very
Yeah.
fast.
Yes.
Very, very fast.
So that's one. But of course, we need authority,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Especially
where
when there's
MOM comes.
injuries and things involved,
Yeah.
should you report it?
So as far as what we know is that the reporting is very low.
Yeah, I
the
know,
reporting
but
is very
is there a
low.
so we're creating a standard here, right? Let's say, what level should there be something, is it only I see something dangerous on set? Or is it only when something happens, then there should be
I think seeing something dangerous on set, reporting it, to me, I don't know how far that will go lah. Because
I see someone going up a cherry picker. This
Yeah.
one is not safe.
So do you, again, goes back to the empowerment, right? Whether you are given, so you come to a scene, you didn't know that you needed to climb 10 meters,
Yeah.
right? Okay, now you're asked to do. The question is, if you're asked to do, would you ask, is there a safety harness, or is there any safety things to look out for, or
Yeah.
is there somebody, would you ask? The question is whether you care for yourself. That's one, right? Second is, of course, the production side of the house will then need to brief you. These are the things to look out for. So as I say, it goes back to the shared responsibility. And even after all these things, let's say you both agree and something happens, then what do you do when an incident happens? So I think there's a lot more things into this.
Yeah.
It's not so straightforward.
yeah, I feel that the freelancer will then balance whether or not, do I have my next job, or
Yes,
do I point it out?
yes.
I think that's something human psyche.
Do I have?
Yeah, do I have? And regrettably,
Is it important enough for me to
no, because
risk
if let's,
my next job?
if let's
for-
say they're on the job and
Yeah.
there are a lot of people and something is dangling or what, if he calls it out and it escalates up the chain, somebody fixes it so it becomes unsafe, becomes safe, then great. But if you see something and you don't know, you half and half, and it's going to be a potential, and you walk away from it because ignorance is bliss, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then something worse happens, then who, so that's the question, yeah.
Who takes the responsibility with
Ultimately,
people?
somebody at the top. will
I
have to
feel
bear.
that this goes back to the planning part that you
Yes.
guys were saying, right? So the question is whether you were involved in the planning. Because if you appear for the event and then they tell you that you need to climb at a certain place and then you need to do the 20 by 20, all these are not briefed in a way. So you go there, you hurry. So that's when the problem comes in.
There's the no planning,
Yeah.
no risk. kind
My
of
sense is
assessment.
that for such situations,
Yep.
there should be some form of pre-planning stage or pre-production stage where you are being briefed, and during that briefing, you are allowed to actually negotiate.
Yep.
Agreed. So in my situation, if I know I need to shoot a car and their light is going to be above, then I ask, can the roof come down instead of me going up? So it's very clear cut. If the location doesn't have that trust system, then I'll find one that has, because I don't have to send 5 people on cherry pickers worrying whether or not they are.
Safe.
I bring the trust down. Then they rig from here and then it goes up. Yeah, and then everything is remote. Nobody's need to go there and press stuff, Once it's done, it's done. And that's on the prep day before the actual shoot. So like you said, Jager, there is a chance to spot and identify and negotiate, which I think is useful. But that comes with cost. So
Cost, because time.
when I plan, I need to make sure that these guys are hired for one more day. And it's not going to be cheap. But to me, hey, it's safe. because I don't have to worry about that on a compressed timeline on the actual day of shoot.
Yeah.
So sometimes I weigh it out lah. You know?
I mean, it depends because it also sounds like the producers are very important roles in this sense, right? And it's very important that they have the necessary expertise and knowledge to be able to do this, to be able to plan in advance, to be able to assess all the risk, anything that's going to happen, kind of a thing. Know that the needle is dangerous, know that, we're going to do a 20 by 20 kind of things. So it really depends on the producer. But do you think then that we need this caliber of producers, we need to have this standard, this accreditation of producers?
Okay, wait, before that one,
Yes,
you haven't asked the crew opinion about right. You're asking about now is my client, right? Crew opinion, right? Okay, the crew opinion. When we ask too much question, we cannot block. We might not have the job. This guy too much question. I don't want to use him.
Yeah.
So that is the crew concern when we ask too much question.
Yeah.
So but then, like now we are here, right? So whoever the recording, whoever the crew look at this, you have the right to ask this question, right? This is not wrong, right? Yeah. So for now they don't know, right? Maybe I ask too much, I will get the job, right? Yeah. So it's correct to ask all these questions.
And I agree. Accreditation not just to above the line producers. It has to also credit the
the whole level of people along
safety
the way.
has to go all the way up. Everybody need to understand on the same page. Safety, like for example,
So that's a very good point. I feel that if you have a checklist or something out there, might be very useful and from an authoritative point of view. So for example, if it comes from the tripartite standard, for example, the guidelines are there. So when he asks those questions, people will not think that he is trying to be difficult. You have a document that you reference and then you say that this is from here and therefore I'm asking through this. So in a way, I think it gives you the comfort to then negotiate and front some of these things.
Okay, so my next question is then, if you want these standards, right, where should these standards come from? Should it come from like people in the industry coming together by ourselves?
Of course.
Or should it be a top-down? Because obviously we don't like top-down things. We don't want the government or whoever is kind of say, you have to do this and do that and do standards and kind of thing.
No, actually the other way is, I would say, is that government may not know everything.
Yes.
Right? That's why we need the industry. And then you need the people who are the ecosystem. And that's why they call it the tripartite, right? The three parties
it's the
that comes
government,
together.
the union, and the
So industry cannot do alone, neither can government do alone. You need the people to come together and agree. And that's the basic, right? Then when you come up with the standard, you may come up with it from a certain context. But again, production has evolved, right? Over the years now you have technology. You don't have so much of technology in the past. Then with technology now, you may need to enhance the standard. And after a while, I also think that the standard, you also need to move it into some form of enforcement. Then we go into enforcement, then some regulations where people, if they don't adhere, people know that there is a very heavy
there's
carrot and a stick. So today, I think where we are at is at the advisory stage. We're telling people that there is this standard guidelines for you to follow. But we feel that I think it is not good enough.
We need more voices, I think, because it's important that if you want to be represented in these standards, you want to have your voice heard, like you want the crew to be heard, you want the producers to be heard, you want the talents to be heard. It's important also to stand out and say, hey, I know this is out of my own, I'm working very hard, I have to sustain my own lifestyle, but I need to give time to help to build these standards together as an industry as well. But I think something we've been talking a lot about is also costs. Right, the cost of meeting these standards, the budget and all that kind of thing. So do you think commissioners, service buyers have a responsibility also? We're talking about producers or crew, all this kind of thing, but do service buyers, commissioners?
Of course, very strongly.
One sort of, how can we kind of assign some of the responsibility to them?
Service buyers, when they give us the budget, they'll also have another person above them most of the time shoving it down. And personally, I've walked away from some stuff which is just not possible to do if I need to do it for that budget for 18, 19 hours. And I will say no, I'm just no. To me, there's too much heartache and too much headache as well. Because there is no point to get it done for that amount of money. So to me, it's then when they hear down the grapevine, somebody else did it. And then I ask myself, how?
How did they do it?
How? And then they were like, oh, it's
What
bro.
corners did it cut?
And then, it comes to me and then it's, oh, bro, it was a 17-hour shoot. I'm like, oh, 17 hour, really? Is that shooting or is that packing? Oh, by the time I read it was 19, that kind of thing. So it's like, I opened it. Somebody will do it. But how do you, brings me back to the point where you say, we want to encourage more of the good and lessen the bad, right? Then I always say, because we're already so small, the community, it's no stopping peer review or just peer review each other. Like, hey, have you heard of this house? Have you heard of that house? How is it like, the payment or whatever? Is it okay on their set? Is it unsafe? I think this is something freelancers need to ask and ask amongst their own community. That's 100%. Yeah, because you protect yourself first. I think basic step. This one, I'm not too sure. Did all that one. Oh, not bad. That process was enjoyable. Things were organized. It didn't feel unsafe. I think that's basic lah. First step. Yeah.
It's just because networks are already very important already. So we do spread information amongst others. Just that some job scopes I think have tighter communities than other job scopes in the community. It is different. Any other thoughts about how can we make service buyers or commissioners perhaps more responsible, take more responsibility? Should they take responsibility?
I think for me, okay, when you complain, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the bad food. It's the service, right? Yeah, I was trying to say is how you tackle after the trouble. Example, accident. How are you going to tackle it, right? To solve the problem. I mean,
but also we need to also before the problem, who is going?
Yeah, that's why I said So end of the day is who is responsible. Responsible. If I'm the boss, right? I hired the freelancer, right? So if I become the responsibility for every of my client, but not on the job. Anything welfare to the crew is my responsibility. But anything their vision, their focus, their execution is not my responsibility. So every department will have their own responsibility, right? I think end of it, how are we going to solve it? If we solve it like, okay, I don't care, I don't know, it's your problem, blah, blah, your reputation, your branding, everything goes down. So you want that to happen?
I think it's this idea that, it's all idea of insurance, right? Oh, it's not going to happen to me. Doesn't matter, it's never going to happen to me, like this kind of things. But let's say something happens, someone gets a toe cut off, or someone, something fall on top of them and things like that. Who is liable for that in that case? Like, who is the responsible party, I think.
Let's go back to the awareness of everything, basically, right? Yeah.
Should because I feel that commissioners and service buyers should have some degree, like they're the main con kind of thing. They should be aware of the responsibility that they have to ensure safe practices on the sets or the productions that they are shooting.
Yeah, I think that's 100%.
I think it even goes back to the person who engages even the service buyer. So it could be even, for example, like a government agency engaging a service buyer or a client who then engages the production house. So it is also a reputational risk for that government agency as well. Because if you know that this is a production for a certain particular like government policy or something, then and if it doesn't tie back, that there is a risk not just to the service buyer but all the way up to the top. So then you need to have that ecosystem in play as well.
But how, right? The question now is how are we
I think
going to
one
make
of the good things is that IMDA, they tie the grants back to the tripartite standard. The basic minimum is that you must be an adopter. Having that adoption to me is good. That's a first start. But the question is, do we actually check whether they implement the practices within that standard? That's where I believe that it is not. There's a gap there. Right, because I think when they started off, the intent is really to get people to be aware of what are the fair contracting principles, and that's why specifically they have a standard for the procurement of media freelancers. And the reason is because there were calls for media freelancers to be protected in terms of safety. The difference between the contracting of self-employed persons versus the procurement of media freelancers is that there is an insurance component. That is the fundamental difference between the two standards which covers the freelancers, right? And the fact that they highlight insurance as a separate component means that there is emphasis on
It's a
safety.
recognition on the importance
Yes,
of
there's recognition. But is it enough? No.
because people don't check anyway.
Yeah,
So
we have more than 2,000 companies who are on board this standard, right? And it's growing,
Yeah.
which is good,
Yeah.
right? But they do it because they need to get grants,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the good practices will then be, if anything happens, people then need to find ways to flag it up. So when things come to VICPA, we have flagged up,
yeah.
right? And then after that, then you get delisted. But of course, then the question is, getting delisted from the standard, is it very significant for the company?
Sounds very significant.
We agree, already.
It's it's a very significant, but for, I think it lacks that bite, I guess, at the end of the day. We recognize, because it's not only insurance. I know we're talking about workplace safety today, but the other components in the tripartite standard are also not adhered to. The idea about payment milestones and also about the contracts.
Contracting,
How many of
yes.
us actually give out or receive contracts as producers, right? I've heard, I understand. Sometimes I hear that, short-term projects, no contracts, I just WhatsApp, email kind of a thing. There's a cost, no time involved and all that. So even these things we don't adhere to, let alone the insurance and all that. But there are these resources out there.
Of course. I think also brings me to another point. I realized that these service buyers, actually half the time, they also don't know what we do. So I think at least
Just give them money, let them do their work, and then,
correct.
I get a nice video.
I think that the start is to also, at least we're starting to educate them. They need to see that it's job. It's not like, I just find somebody shoot a video. It's different. It's
not using your phone. And
exactly. So I think that process of education is starting, which is a good thing.
But it needs to continue because also tripartite is also very much government kind of IMD commissioned money. But there are a lot of private clients outside there, companies, brands who hire companies who are not required to get grants or anything. Then that's the question there, right? Whether there's standards out there that these brands are incentivized to follow. Like why should they?
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to the private sector, that's out the window, right? Yeah.
You can't touch that, right?
Yeah. But then the government service buyers are one of the largest.
So hence that is actually a very strong lever. Yeah. So I say that that's actually a very strong lever already, because you get a large number of projects covered, which means you will cover also a fair bit of companies.
The biggest service buyer.
Yes, you cover. You have to start from somewhere.
Yes.
The question is whether the service buyers know what is their responsibility. That is something that even VICPA or even at the larger labour movement, NTUC freelancers unit need to do more. Because in the course of our engagements, we realize that they may adopt it because of the grants, but they may not implement it, or they may not even practice it due to administrative constraints or whatever constraints you call it, because they feel that small work, I don't need to give a contract, or they have this thinking that contracts are drafted by legal people and
or they use like cut and paste kind of,
Yes.
contracts.
I've done some work for some of the service buyers. Even the person awarding the work
doesn't know what
zero. And the IMDA job that I did with past, that person has absolute idea of what's happening. I had to handhold her.
On set or
No, she doesn't even know exactly how the process is. We had to handhold her A to absolute Z. And that is at times frustrating, but also times very helpful, because from that one process is an arduous journey. You learn, wow, oh my gosh, she said I have a lot of learnings, but it's amazing to me. It's amazing.
Why are you teaching her, putting her through, but they must pay school fees.
Yeah, but it's amazing to me that you are working for that agency which is supposed to help our industry, and you have absolutely no clue what is going on. So that is like, my eyes open big also. So it's like, that's why I say there's always a top-down shaft, right? So, and you want that product that you show me as a reference. Oh, I just want it to look like this cup, but the budget doesn't allow it to look like this cup. Here's another cup. No, how? Why? I'm like, because it's like that, and then it's that journey, the education bit.
Education of both the community. I mean, obviously awareness from freelancers and producers, all levels of our industry, but also service buyers and commissioners as well. I think we'll hope, because if the agencies and the people who are in charge of the industry, or even VICPA, sometimes we have very limited knowledge. I mean, and I appreciate that VICPA is coming to learn more about industry and what we do as well, because it's important. to know that, to be able to target specific issues. But I think I come back to my really, this point is really, I think, workplace safety, contracts, payments, or that the change I really want to see in this industry is that we all come together as an industry at the end of the day. I think we are very fragmented. Like there's a producer, and I like to say from a friend, I quote from a friend, that we are all in the same sampan. Okay? Not Queen Elizabeth, this is sampan. Okay? And on this sampan, there's water inside the sampan and we are sinking. But instead of helping one another to bail out the water of the sampan, repair the holes, we are making more holes in the sampan, fighting each other, trying to, compare things and trying to say, oh, you are the one who's cutting my rates, you are the one who's creating trouble, you are the one who's raising rates and creating all these things. But if we really come together, repair the holes, build the water out of the sampan, then we can start to float and start to really make our way, to wherever we are going towards. I think also important to identify where we're going towards, because sometimes I feel it's very fuzzy, the direction that our industry here is going towards. We're all doing our own things. We're very talented, very creative, a lot of creative people here, a lot of experience here as well. But we kind of lose our way because there's no real direction we are going towards. I think it's very important.
Agreed.
I think we need to foster to community, right? And we have to just join in to, example, like VICPA, right? If ask the veteran question or this thing, and also safety become our culture. Like every time we work together, safety has become like courtesy campaign. Right? It's a culture. Every time we talk, it become norm. Now it's not norm. We have to input to all this.
I mean, even in Disneyland, safety is their top value.
Number one.
It's culture, right?
Value.
It's just a culture.
Above games, above fun,
Yeah.
safety is the number one value. So even in a theme park, right, safety is the number one.
Number
value.
one, yes.
What more in a place like us, which
Exactly.
we're not a theme park, but we create a lot of fantastic work in Singapore, and we still.
So when it becomes a norm, then I think freelancers or even service buyers will feel more empowerment. So today I think the problem is because it's not a norm, they don't feel empowered to even stop work or even ask questions. Because if you are being asked, you feel that fear. So then we need to slowly change that culture. And culture usually takes longer. You can change policies easily, but culture takes a bit of time because it involves change of mindsets. And I think you pointed out a very good analogy about that sampan. That's where you don't see yourself alone. In an association, you see yourself as being part of a bigger community. There's a lot of knowledge, right? Each of you do in your own production, and you have some practices for young children and so forth. So when you put them all together, these are very good knowledge that can become the norms. And for us to then, further enhance, and that becomes actually a very good, a book for everyone to then know that this is a standard. And I think we have done so in many other sectors. Why not for this industry?
I mean, I think it's very important to really recognize also that VICPA is not perfect.
Starting out,
There's no perfect organization out there, and they're doing their best, I think, to be able to champion our voice and to be able.
VICPA is watching VICPA is watching.
We are helping, I think, and VICPA is helping, I think, and also trying their best because it is not the best conditions.
No, it's not.
It's a very, very fragmented industry.
My thing is the watching is different. It's watching the high authority.
I mean, they're
I think they guys know, right?
I just, the whole incident just shows me about how clueless your IMDA staff is on the job like that. Goes to show that.
And also because they rotate, I think.
No, that's understandable. But to me, it's at least recognize that this is a proper career. If not, why would people be like me and him be in this line for so many years?
And also, I've had previous conversations, and some of them don't even understand the difference between a commercial crew and a drama crew, and the difference that these people face in terms of skills and in terms of lighting. What do they do on set?
Yeah.
There's no real recognition.
On
like
screen,
a cameraman,
off screen.
a
Yeah.
cameraman is a cameraman. Whether a cameraman is on a corporate shoot, a commercial shoot, or drama shoot, it's all cameraman.
Yeah.
There can be very different skill sets.
Different,
Though. Very,
completely
very
different. Down to
skill
the
set.
guy shooting news, down to the guy shooting commercials. Completely different skill set.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
no real understanding of the sectors, and it's
Yeah.
important to understand that because commercial work conditions can be different from documentary
Yeah.
work conditions,
Yeah.
can be different from news variety, from drama.
So this goes to my point when I was discussing like in my own team.
Yeah.
Do we actually have like a creative day or a creative freelancers day? I ask this also because like you have Nurses Day.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of emphasis in the month of August about like the job of the nurses. I think one day we should like have something for like, celebrate the achievements because this is a profession. Every job is a good job. And everyone is skilled in their own profession. But we should find ways not just to educate the service buyers, but also the larger public. What is the job of a creative professional?
How to make it more obvious also to people.
Right. Especially for those when we watch movies. But there's actually a lot of work. People enjoy movies, dramas.
Yeah, it's like
right?
years,
You do
years
that,
of
right?
work. Yeah.
But then the question is, do you know that the kind of hard work that people have actually put
Totally,
right? So I believe that we need to do more just on public education in terms of like the back end. That means there should be some kind of production to show all the back end work, the efforts that people put in, and appreciate those like the crews, photographers, videographers, or even content creators, actors.
It's also whether, I think, how do we humanize this profession? Because, I've had people tell me, there are, poor people out there. There are orphans. There are a lot of people who are in worse off conditions than you. You have a job, you are, you're doing creative work and all that. You're pursuing your passion, which is terrible. Because I hate that because does it mean that before I pursue my passion, I should put myself in unsafe conditions?
No, of course not. Right.
I should climb up a 10-meter, so I could go up with a cherry picker. Does it mean that because I'm doing what I love, I should put myself in these kind of unsafe situations? And I think it's important to let people see that behind the artist, there's a real human who deserves to be paid a certain rate, who deserves to be kept safe on set, and who deserves to have a voice to speak up for their rights.
Yeah.
As
Perfect.
well.
Yeah. I just want to add one more thing. Just popped in my head about safety on set. It's also, I think I have to draw a point that it's not just physical. I think if you realize that somebody is going under mentally or like not there, I think we should call it out. And I think after COVID, that was even more apparent because sometimes people just don't talk about it. They just power through, but that affects their focus and in turn will affect physical safety. So I think something like that we have to watch out for. Like, hey, you okay? You feeling alright? The kind of thing. Just simple statement like that,
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
So in fact, today we talk a lot about mental wellness, right? And actually, that's the part that you are really highlighting, not just the physical well-being, but also that mental well-being.
Yeah, it has.
And then the question is in our sector, what do we do to help people in that space as well?
Yeah. As much as my editors are like there for like 12, 13 hours, right? I always like, hey, done. Switch it off. You know the kind of thing, so that you don't go through that burn. But when the pressures of work come in, how do you react as a person? That causes you to lose focus physically. I think that's be driving a car or whatever. You don't want to be spend 17 hours there and then get into accident, touch wood. Yeah. So I think mental health is also real. Sometimes I see some faces on set which are not too happy, and I'm like, is that person okay? I ask my production manager, is that person okay?
Very toxic environment.
Yeah. No, some decisions were made, they're not happy. And I'm like, do you need to talk
Also
to
to
them?
have that open space.
Yes.
And it's
I
not
think-
really apparent everywhere. I think it's open space to be able to share your concerns and your fears and all that.
Yeah.
I think as we wrap up the session, right? Any final thoughts? Anything that you feel you really need to get off your heart at this point?
I think for safety, like I said at the beginning, safety is your responsibility, right? The client or whoever hired you, of course, want you to be safe when you come back. But also, client also have agenda to meet and pay you end of the job.
Yeah.
Right? So safety start from you and end from you. That's my final thought.
Agreed.
I think as creatives, we are expected to tell stories and create visuals with empathy, right? but I think we also need to have empathy for the people that we work with. And it starts from us lah. So like, you know, like the toxic sets or like safety, that kind of- we need to see ourselves as humans. Hey, we shouldn't do that lah. If not, how can we do great work?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So I think that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
No pressure. No, it's a very pressureless. We've talked a lot already, so I'm very aware that I know Kelvin as well has shared a lot, and there are a lot of things that have been covered today.
It's sad lah, going to finish. That's why. There's a very wide safety
Like, I want
issue.
to talk even more about this, and we can go on.
Very sad ending
I
soon.
just want to add that if there's anyone out there who feels that we can do more in this aspect, reach out to VICPA.
Yeah.
We are prepared to actually hear you. There would be definitely more knowledge because you are practitioners in the industry.
Yes.
Let us know, write to us, VICPA at ntuc.org.sg, and we
And
will
also
be
can
able-
report incidents or
Yes.
unsafe things that they've seen.
Yeah.
Perhaps
And-
can also add to our standards.
Yes, and that will help us to actually then push for these standards and a better voice for our production side of the house.
Yeah. I think it's important to come on board and to have your voice heard.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, before like you cannot wait until everything is done and then you complain, oh, they never hear me, they never put my own thoughts and my perspective into
Take that
this
first
thing.
step. Yeah.
To be part of the conversation. I think. Also, I think some people think that it's a very like, oh, it's time consuming, or it's gonna be like a
I mean, if you care about your next job and your future of your career, then do something about it.
and your
lah.
future
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah,
Let's think
right.
about future generations and your, the people.
Totally, if you care about what you do and you make it your job, proper your career, then make a stand for it. It's very important.
I mean, it's a balanced thing. I
Yeah.
think we have to be aware that sometimes we feel very helpless in this industry. Young ones who come in feel very helpless. Even senior ones like us,
Yeah.
we can also feel very helpless. Like we don't have, as one person, we don't have the power to change things. But I think coming together and speaking about it, and perhaps just moving the needle a tiny little bit at each time. I've talked to people who told me that I'm very optimistic. Why you
No, I
want to
think about
change
safety,
everything?
you have to push it as
Yeah,
much as
because
possible.
are you willing to let things stay the way they
Yeah.
are? That's a question at the end of the day.
Yeah, we
Are
don't
you-
need a war.
Yeah.
We need
just need.
safe.
Yeah, we just need to be safe. and it's a basic human right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if every time they ask us for data, right? I always say
that's why
everybody
you
is like,
can't-
why do you need somebody to
Die
to
first.
die or to injure yourself seriously, and then you know? But then think about it. How
I
many?
mean,
Yeah.
it's lucky that we
don't
haven't
need
had
that. We don't
huge
need
things,
that.
but we
Yeah.
don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that.
to
We don't need
happen,
that.
yeah.
We need a proactive stand to say that we are aware and we are taking measures to guard ourselves, to protect and make
Especially in a first world country.
exactly and make our industry way better. It is like I said, there's no shortage of talent here, especially no shortage of talent. We have to protect it so that the future talent can come into a better and safer space. Most important, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm.
Mm.